I had seen my dad, who's non-expressive, who's, silent and like very bad temper. I was in a marriage which wasn't good at all. So I had these impressions of men. I knew that I was going to get married to Vipul and I knew I wanted to have babies. And I just, got pregnant, had my babies, took a gap and then came back and did work. Playing a mother to somebody who's much older than me. So though finished. Vipul didn't want me to do work. Just out of the blue, Amit ji suggested my name. There was Neerja, there was Kapoor and Sons. And I loved both of them. But I consciously said no. I said, I don't want to get into that bracket where I'll never be able to come out of.
Hi Shefali, thank you so much for making the time.
Thank
for coming
you.
On Quint.
Thank you.
The last time we met, you said that, for me, my journey as an actor has been very different because I never really put myself out there looking for work. From not knowing whether acting was really a career that you wanted to do to an Emmy nomination. When you look back, right, how do you describe your journey as an actor?
I think it's been very unpredictable.
Yeah.
And earlier, I would actually say that my career has been more about waiting than actually working. The last 2 years, or rather 4 years since Delhi Crime came out, and it started to change. I mean, like last year I've never done so much work in my entire life that I did the year before.
Yeah.
And last year I had like 6 releases, which was like, wow.
As an actor, we know a lot about Shefali. If I could take you back to your childhood, I would love to know what was that like for you?
Extremely protected to a point of, I don't think it should have been so protected. We almost came from a lower middle class background and then my parents rose up to middle class.
Right.
And I think who I am and my values come from there. For the longest time, my parents didn't have a house. So my father would request our relatives to keep my mom and me. I was a baby then. And at a point of time, I remember we were staying at his cousin's house. The house was half of this room. Okay. And there was that uncle, auntie, their baby, my mom, dad, and the baby, and me. But I've never seen my parents negative or, they just took it in their stride and said, okay, let's grow as much as we can. Mom's a doc. And my dad was with the RBI. At that point of time, even if they couldn't afford it, they did put me into one of the best schools. That was Arya Vidya Mandir. I was bullied. Nobody liked me. I was the oh, she doesn't belong to our strata kind of thing. And I was like, okay. Kya kar sakte hain?
Yeah.
But now when I look back, it doesn't hurt me. I just feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it's been. I had thought of doing various things besides acting.
Right, yes.
I applied to be an air hostess. I wanted to be a surgeon. I wanted to be an artist. Like, I'll be a dancer. All of it.
Yes.
So it came out of nowhere.
Right.
When I was offered a play when I was 10 years old by one of my teachers. And I did that play. Then there was a big gap. Then I got admission into Mithibai because of my paper cuttings. Because the theatre faculty is really big.
Yeah.
And then I got recommended from here to there to there. So that's how it kept moving.
Right.
And I went with the flow. Very late in life, I realized, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
So when you decided as in when you were getting these opportunities and you decided, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing, how did your parents react to that?
Mom was very supportive.
Right.
Even dad, even though he came from a very conservative he came from Mangalore. And at that point of time, the Shetty community was extremely conservative. Like there were very few girls even studying. So suddenly somebody deciding to do television and acting was like, what the hell? But they were supportive. My grandmom was there. So when I was doing theatre, my mom or my grandmom would travel with me. So I was really young.
Yes.
And that's how it just went on.
So at that time, women entering this field was looked at very differently as it is looked at today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So did you have to kind of fight that narrative of what the world is?
I don't know. I didn't have to fight it.
Yeah.
I don't know if my mom had to fight it.
Yeah.
I was too young. And I think everyone was blaming my parents.
Right.
How do you let her do this? So it used to come to mom and she used to handle it. Or dad used to handle it. But it never really came to me. So I didn't care.
Earlier you said that, I could have been an artist or I could be a dancer, right? We see a lot of your paintings around when you're walking down the hallway or walking here. Is painting really your passion, like your first love after acting?
No.
Okay.
So, there was a big patch in my career where I didn't have any work. And it was getting very demotivating and depressing. And I needed to have an outlet for my creativity. I really needed it. Otherwise, I would have gone crazy.
Yeah.
I'd done a couple of classes with my kids.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I said, okay, why don't I go to art school? So I went to Spain. There was an art school. I was there for 4 months. Then I came back. Then I went again the next semester. And I think that whole experience was very enriching for me. Finding your own place, living alone. And here you just need to call for anything, any kind of your friends, your family, anything you want.
Yeah.
But over there, it's not like that. You've got to just figure it out yourself. But I loved it.
How do you think that kind of molded you into the person you are today?
I probably became more confident and more self-dependent. And I don't shy away from doing work. In fact, I'd rather do it myself than tell somebody and explain it.
Yeah.
It's just like, acha, jaane do, main kar leti hu. Over there, I just had to deal with everything on my own. I could have done it with luxury. But I said, I want to do it exactly like a student does it. There were good days and there were bad days. Also, when I went to school, there were people from all across the globe and they were there for a longer time. So I was a newcomer. Yeah. So, everyone was friends and I was like the outsider. I was like, I don't want to go back into that same process that went through in school when nobody liked me and no one was a friend. But they were amazing.
How
just
nice.
Amazing people. We're still in touch. I may not be able to quantify how it's enriched me, but I know for sure it did.
Of course, this industry has given you a lot, right? Apart from a flourishing career, you also met your partner in this industry, right? So do you remember the first day you met her?
So I knew Vipul for a very long time.
Right.
He used to do theatre. I used to do theatre. Yeah. And every single time he did a play or a serial, he's offered it to me and I've said no.
Why?
I don't know. So when he called me for this Gujarati film, I went to meet him to say no. And at that point of time, Gujarati films were about conical bras. Yeah. So I was a little like, I don't want to do that. Yeah. I mean, I don't fit into it. So I went to say no to him. He convinced me about the film. And he convinced me because he said, there's the most beautiful location we are shooting at and whatever. I said, very nice, very nice. Okay, great. He was talking about Alang, which is a shipbreaking yard where there are only men. Women can't even go there. It's scary.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe he sold that place to me saying it is so beautiful and let's go and whatever. Anyway, landed up doing the film and he was a complete surprise for me as a man. Because I had seen my dad, who's non-expressive, who's, silent and very bad temper, but then loves but won't show it, that kind of a thing. I was in a marriage which wasn't good at all. So I had these impressions of men. So I was like, all men are like this. And I met this guy who had a sense of humor, who was chill, who could deal with the highest stress level with the most positive attitude. And I was really shocked.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a surprise that I fell in love with this guy. Yeah. And then he told me that I've loved you for years, but you kept saying no to me.
So the films were actually just another way to... Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I think he had foresight.
What do you call it? Manifest.
Manifesting. Yes. He manifested this. Yes.
I think I manifested the Emmy.
You did.
Recently, so I met this friend of mine. She does the hair makeup for DC. And we were celebrating. And she said, Chef, do you remember on DC's set, we were in the makeup van. And you suddenly said, I'm pretending like I've gone to the Emmys and I'm giving a speech. I have no memory of this.
Wow. I'm going to come back to Vipul. And I remember even in the previous interview, you had said the two boys in the house have such a great role model as a man in front of them that your job sort of becomes a little simpler to maneuver. What is that like? What is home like for you?
It's not exactly simple to maneuver. They gang up against me. I have it's a majority of men in my house. Also, when they were growing up, our umbilical cord wasn't cut for the longest time. They were mama's kids. And then suddenly they became dad's kids. And I'm jealous. I'm like, what the heck? Also, Vipul and my parenting, we have very different ideas.
Right.
According to my kids, I'm the no parent. And he's the yes parent. So I give my point of view every time.
Yeah.
But like I said, there is a majority. And the father says, it's okay, karne do.
Right.
So then it goes that way.
Right.
And if it doesn't work out, then I say, I had told you.
At least you have the last word.
Yeah.
If I could talk to you a little bit about being a mother, right? You said there was a time where you took a little break. What was that like for you, taking a break from the industry at that point? And also when you did get back, balancing that being a mother and a career woman who wants to accomplish so much.
It was a conscious decision. I knew that I was going to get married to Vipul, whatever number of months ahead. And I knew I wanted to have babies.
Right.
And I was doing television. So I remember in the beginning of the year, I told everyone that after May, write me out of stuff. I'm not going to be there. I mean, whenever I would have had kids, it's not like I'd expected that next year I'll have babies. But I wanted to have kids. I wanted to stay at home. And I loved it. I think I came back with Waqt.
Yes.
So it was again our set.
Right.
You know, so it could be adjusted. Or the kids were there, the father was there, I was there. So it was kind of worked around that.
Right.
So try to work it out like that. And then they grew up. And once that full 9 to 4 school starts, also, you know, they become far more independent and probably detached than I will ever be. They didn't need me anymore as much.
Yeah.
So then I got back to work. And then after that also, it wasn't like I was getting the most brilliant work. And also what happened is, because I did Waqt, it put me into a block of age. So then to, all I got offered was hero's mother, heroine's mother, and who were much older than me.
Yeah.
So it was just like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. But at such a young age, for you to haven't taken that call, how did you kind of break through that shackle, and what made you say yes to Waqt?
It's based on a play.
Right. Yeah.
I loved the play.
Okay.
And I loved the character. And I wanted to work with 2 of my favorite men, Vipul and Mr. Bachchan. And Vipul didn't want me to do Waqt.
Yes.
So he said, don't do it. You know, it will, in the long run, it's going to come in your way. Just out of the blue, Amit ji suggested my name. And then when Vipul told me, I said, see, I'm telling you, I'll put powder in my hair and I'll, you know, be old and all that. And I was very happy doing it. I didn't think of the repercussions. Also because I'm an actor. The point of being an actor is that I'll play stuff that I'm not.
Absolutely.
So I didn't see a problem in it. But obviously there was. Like even after Dil Dhadakne Do, I got offered similar roles. Very nice scripts. I mean, there was Neerja and there was Kapoor and Sons. But I loved both of them. But I consciously said no. I was dying to do it, but I consciously said no. I said, I don't want to get into that bracket where I'll never be able to come out of it.
Yeah. If you could talk a little bit about Hasratein. You know, that is a show that I really remember watching even as a kid and loving it. And I think that was a show that was so ahead of its times.
True.
You know, for someone like you to do that role, again, I would say such a brave choice.
I think it was more brave and it was a very risk-taking choice because there was another actress who was playing it for like, and she had played it for 100 episodes and she was very popular and the character was known, like Savi was her.
Yes.
I mean, it did worry me that if people hate me, then what? But I thought there was so much potential in that role. And I really loved it. And that's why I did it.
I'm going to take you now to Satya, one of the most cult films the industry has seen. After Satya got done, did you feel things are going to change for you, and did they?
They almost would have. And they did start. Because immediately after Satya, I didn't expect it. Because I was like, 7 minute ka role hai, usme se 3 minute gana hai. Also, I was very young to realize what we were creating. You know, over the years, I've understood what that film meant. But it did help in a very big way because immediately after that, I remember getting a call from Mira Nair and her speaking to me in Hindi and saying, I don't know if you can speak in English, but I want to offer you this film and this part. Because she really thought I was somebody from a Maharashtrian background who didn't know, who was not educated or whatever, which I take as a huge compliment.
Of course it is, of course it is.
Then we met and then I did Ria. But when I could have probably harnessed it,
Yeah.
I decided to vanish.
Right.
But after that, I just, got pregnant, had my babies, took a gap, and then came back and did work.
Right.
Playing a mother to somebody who's much older than me.
Yeah.
So though finished.
Do you still think as a society, when it comes to a working mother and a working a father, do you think it's still very different?
Yeah. And I also think a lot of that pressure is put by the woman herself.
Yes.
There are things that I could have said no to. Like when I was working and if Vipul wanted something, I was working out of town. Like if he wanted something, he would call me. Then I would call this shop in Bombay and then it would be delivered. It was because I did it. If I would have said, I can't do this, figure it out, then he would have figured it out.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we take it upon ourselves.
Yeah.
Ki kaam karke aao, then I only want to cook for my children and, and then do kit about ye theek nahi hai, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. And yes, unfortunately, it still hasn't completely changed where you believe a man and a woman are equal.
Yeah.
He has to be as much a part of the parenting as the woman is.
Right.
But it's not completely. It's not changed.
You've completed in the industry 3 decades?
Probably.
Yes,
I
yes.
started work when I was 15.
Wow, 3 decades. What is the difference you see on sets when it comes to women?
I've been lucky where I wasn't on a set where I was disrespected.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
But I do understand what women have to go through. A lot of women have
Yeah.
to go through. I think the rules and the parameters have been set even more after the Me Too movement.
Yes. Yeah.
Also, you see a lot of women on set doing different things, not just actors.
Yeah.
So many DOPs are women, directors are women,
Yeah.
which is amazing.
Yeah.
Which is just totally amazing.
Talking about women in the industry, of course, we see a great change in scripts, the great roles that are coming out for women. Do you still kind of find a gap?
I think we're 30-70%, which is great.
It's huge.
It's huge.
Yes.
Starting from 2%, and soon it will be 50-50. I just wish that the industry finally gets out of this obsession of stardom. There's enough place for everyone.
It is.
Just because you want someone who sells or you think sells, you can't deny the fact that there are actors who deserve to be out there. Now, stars are coming on OTT also.
I was just going to ask you.
So then what happens?
Yeah.
So what? Are you going to ignore all those actors who gave you these top shows?
What, according to you, is stardom, Shefali?
I have no idea. I haven't dealt with it. I haven't experienced it. I don't know, and I am very happy because I do not care. It's about how popular this person is.
Not how good.
Yeah, how popular this person is. What are the kind of numbers he or she are going to get to the table when you are releasing a film theatrically? I don't think it has anything to do with being actors.
You know, if there was a role that you could think of, and I asked you a role that changed your career.
Delhi Crime. And I have to also say Juice.
Yes.
And I'll tell you why. That was also what the international producers saw when they were casting for DC.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So it showed me in my age,
Yes.
it showed me in the center, and I think it's a phenomenal film.
Do you feel there's still a certain misconception about you that's around that you think, listen, I'm not like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
People are very intimidated when they come to me.
I can get it. But you're not,
they're like,
you're like-
she's very serious and all that.
Yeah.
I think they think I'm going to bite. Yeah, and I just think I'm who I am.
Yeah.
There's no pretense. I don't know how people pretend. It's a lot of work.
We see a lot of that.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. You know, I read somewhere you had said that till now when I go in front of the camera, it feels it's my first day. How come?
I don't know.
Is it
might
the
be-
nerves?
Yeah, completely. And it might be difficult to believe because everyone thinks such a strong woman
Yeah.
and all that, which I am in
Yeah,
parts.
you
But my self-esteem isn't exactly very high. And I question myself all the time. Am I really good? Did I really do it well? Oh God, I don't know. Is
Yeah.
it an imposter syndrome? I'm too scared. The director will say action and I won't know what to do. And I'm glad I have that.
Yeah.
Because the day I feel I know it, I'm going to stop growing.
Yeah. You know, Shefali, truly, with all my heart, I have to say this to you, truly one of the finest actors the industry has.
Thank you.
And you have such a long way to go to many more Emmys. Thank you so much for talking to me. It's always a pleasure talking to you, Shefali.
I loved it.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks.